start your intro
not
for
like
you.
now. All right, you can do it. I mean, you're like not a guest. You're kind of the co-host.
Hello, YouTube. This is Winslow's channel, and I've taken over. It's SyRan.
That was perfect.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
This is the new Swing and Miss podcast. It was called the Tea Time podcast, but Winslow didn't like the name, so it's called Swing and a Miss.
Perfect. That is exactly how we'll start. So we're supposed to go like, how have you been? And how have you been? Even though we didn't talk about that already.
How have you been, Winslow? Or can I call you Duncan? How?
Either
That's
way.
already, that's a talking point. Like,
Yeah.
when you meet artists, it's really weird.
You're good at
It's like, do you call them on first name terms, or do you
Yeah.
call them like their artist name?
Yeah, I don't know.
I find that weird. See, to you, to me, I don't know why, but calling you Duncan sounds weird to me.
No.
Because I've called you Winslow all the time.
Yeah. But at least
So
that's
it's
like my name, so it kind of works. But then you can't do
Yeah.
like if I was like Josh SyRan or like Jack Pola or I don't know. But now it's Duncan Winslow. I'm like, oh, it still works. So yeah.
Yeah, that
Either
does,
one.
that rolls off the tongue quite nicely.
Yeah.
I guess with me, it's like Josh. A lot of people just call me Josh. And if I ever introduced myself, I'd be like, oh, I'm Josh. Or what me and James have done when we introduce ourselves is, oh, I'm Josh. This is James. Yeah, we go by the name of SyRan.
Yeah,
and then
perfect.
Do you do that? Because there's the amount of times at like events in London that we used to go to, Clashmouth. And it's like,
You do the whole
before you've
thing.
even met someone, you already think your brain is whirring, going, how do I not cop this?
Yeah, that was 15 minutes before we turned this on. So I'm glad we got that started. Yeah, but I never I don't know. Because when if I do run into somebody in person, which is rare, at least now, they're like, oh, Winslow. It's like, how do you know that? Especially around here.
Yeah. A lot of people used to call me Ransom because on my solo name, and I guess mates and stuff. So if people call me that as well, I'd answer to that. But then more people call me Josh now, I guess. It's
because you're a household
It depends. Yeah. I mean, I've got loads of nicknames. My mates still call me DJ.
Nice.
It's so for the old name, but yeah, it's always something to think about. But
I think
I'm going to call you Winslow, and if I
right.
do call you Duncan, then people in the comments below shout at me, and you can call me whatever.
It was funny. Degs had the same thing. He's like, "Can I call you Duncan?" I was like, "Yeah, that's cool." I was like, "Okay, I didn't want to offend you." I was like,
Nope, it's my name. I was born that name.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I guess before we get more waffling, what have you been up to? How's things been?
I've been sat indoors. Like, I guess these are weird times at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 2020's been a weird year, but I've been hustling, I guess, grinding. I think it's really weird. Been cracking on with the music, and I guess one of the things really is with periods like this where the whole scene gets sort of shut down.
Yeah.
It's a really testing time for people on a mental health level and on yourself, I guess, because we're right drum and bass music that's played in the clubs.
Yeah.
And that club has been taken away, so you're a bit whoa, and all of a sudden you've got. I don't know about you, but when I write music, I always have a vision of the end result of the environment that it's going to be played in, and that always gives me decisions on how I think it's going to. I put myself into a situation in my head whilst I'm writing. I guess that's all part of the creativity. But then when you're writing music now and you're thinking, and you know that the clubs aren't happening, it's really difficult. Like the sort of music that we write is very much more dance floor, quite aggressive. So it's actually it was quite weird because all of a sudden we don't want to just stop writing what we do because the clubs have stopped.
All
so
right.
there I am playing around with distortion, making the world's greatest foghorn,
There you go.
you're thinking, I'm making this foghorn for 2022,
Basically.
potentially. I'm not making a foghorn. I mean,
That's a distorted bass. My bad.
I
Well,
call
you
it,
said
well, there's something else. Yeah. What's a foghorn and what's a distorted bass? They're two different things, in my opinion.
Yep.
But I'll let the YouTube comments down below. Is that the YouTube
God.
shield? Like and subscribe and hit that bell icon.
I'm glad it's you doing it, not me.
Discuss in the comments. What is a foghorn?
Right.
But yeah. Already this has got off the rails. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's good.
It's good. It's making those sort of energetic tunes when you know that you can't write a tune on a Thursday night for a gig on a Friday and then test it out. So we're now writing tunes that we've released music this year that we've not had a chance to test in clubs. So you've just got to go on your gut instincts, and you have no idea, and it's But then on the flip side, because we've had this time, I've now all of a sudden you feel like you've got more time to do music. I've been writing a lot of stuff that's different, stuff that isn't drum and bass, trying new things, a chance to hone your craft, which I think I remember SyRan mentioned this on his Facebook page to say times like this is a chance to reset and to really knuckle down and practice your craft, because there will be people that come out of this that will fall behind and will lose them. And then there'll be people who come out of this as they will feel technically and better at production or DJing for that example, because they've had chance to sit down in their own environment and just grind away. Yeah, that's exactly what we've been doing. Me and James, the music writing will never stop. The music industry never stops. And I think as a SyRan top tip, number one. Here we go. Can you add some numbers?
I can try.
Yeah. Number one, I would just, you gotta keep yourself busy, especially on the social media front, and keep writing tunes. For every 50 tunes that you write, 5 may get released, but it's the fact that you'll practice and practicing and practicing, and then you will get better. Even if it's like learn a new plugin, learn synthesis, anything like that, so that when things do open up, and I'm very hopeful for that, you feel like you've done something. You've done something over the time, or you've learned a new skill, and you feel better because you never stop learning when writing music. Never stop learning. I mean, I've been doing this now I wrote my first tune in 2003 at the age of 10.
Right. Nice.
Yeah. Well, I've still got all of that.
Yeah.
And then I started writing drum and bass 2010, 2011, 2012. So, and then I had 3-4 years learning, just trying everything, because drum and bass is very difficult to write. I came from writing happy hardcore and sort of hard dance, very much fall to the floor, trance, riffy stuff. And then I found I was just repeating the same tunes over and over again. Creativity I wasn't being challenged. So
same thing happened.
And at the time I was listening to a lot of drum and bass, and I wanted to have a go at it and sort of take what I learned from one genre and try myself at drum and bass. And I've never looked back. It's probably the greatest decision I ever made.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a challenge to write a drum and bass tune, and when you pull it off, you get that great self-satisfaction knowing that it works. There's so much going on in drum and bass. It's not trying to get so much swing at 175 BPM or whatever. It's so difficult. You've not got much movement and wiggle room. So to cram all of that in is super difficult, and I definitely envy and respect the artists like Cameron Crooked, Metric, Subfocus, what I call the dance floor style, because there's so much going on in between the beats, and to get it all sitting perfect. I mean, I don't want to say that drum and bass is the hardest genre to write, but I think it is. I don't think in electronic dance music, I don't think there's anything that can be beaten on that. I really don't, just because of the speed and what you're dealing with.
Yeah, it is just so technical, and that's like one of the like things that took me, I think, the longest. But then that's also like what I'm into is all like the little detailed things, like getting in there, just editing, whatever else I can do. Just like you spend 20 minutes on like a second of audio, and you might only be the one who will ever know about it, but it makes that much difference in like the end
Definitely.
result.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I love it.
Yeah.
And I'm that sort of guy. I love tweaking. I love getting into the technicals.
Especially with
Like,
40 tracks of drums.
oh, don't get me started. But that's the thing. It's like you can do that, but then there's tunes that have like 3 tracks of drums. There's so much scope. You get the big masterpieces, and then you get the jungle tracks,
Yeah.
which when you break it down, like especially in the late 90s, you actually break down what's going on because they were limited by technology and with samplers. The digital audio workstation as we know it didn't really exist. They were dealing with sort of 8 stereo tracks of audio for a whole mix. What's that? 4 drums, 2 basses, a synth, and a vocals track. You try and write a tune using 8 mixer channels only, people would struggle. There's different ways of doing it, but when you pull it off, it's amazing. I love it.
Right.
Drum and bass is the greatest thing ever, and love it. It's just so much scope. And I think this year actually, drum and bass is turning a new corner. It goes through its regular cycle of trends. And for the people that didn't like the whole rollers thing,
we're doing wobblers now.
It's massive, massive, and it worked because of the club environment. But that's now gone, so there's a chance for a new cycle to come.
Yeah, that is completely true. That's kind of what I've just been seeing everyone else either complain about or get used to at this point, because like we didn't think it would last this long. It's like it's going to be this year, next year, so now you gotta
I think
try to do
it will
something
still be
new.
Going, because it won't be. It's this whole idea of loud, in your face, mid range, and it sort of stems off the whole jump up, I guess. And even then, you look at sort of the 2008, 2009 jump up. Loved it. Everyone was going nuts for that. So and then you've got the neurofunk people who are like technically gifted on sound design and doing some amazing things. And you've got this whole jungle. I wouldn't say a revival because it's always been there, but a lot of people wanting to sort of go back to that sound but give it a modern edge, which I guess is what SyRan. I guess that's what we do. Jungle has always been a part of me, because I think growing up, I missed all that. Not the early 90s raving. I missed all that because I was a baby. I was a kid.
I've missed everything because I've been here.
But now that but the thing is, the late 90s and the early 2000s, I was listening to whatever was on the radio, and at that time, dance music was the thing, and a lot of jungle sounds were leaking into dance music. The aim and break, the aim and break, the think break in house tunes like top 40 bangers.
Right. Yeah.
In even the Spice Girls, right? The Spice Girls track, Wannabe, one of the drums on that is a think break. It's hidden, buried, but it's in there. And I mean, it's really buried in the mix. But there's old school pianos in that as well. So it's been around for a while, and with that rough sound, is now I'm older. Sort of when I got into drum and bass, first thing I wanted to do was go back to the jungle and appreciate it, and also look at the new sounds. So it's amazing.
And you have covered at least 3 episodes in 15 minutes, so I don't think I can delete some topics now.
Oh.
No,
do you want to talk about my mug? Because I've brought in the big boys tonight.
It's for Fox.
Is it mirrored?
No, I can see it just fine.
So, as people may know, if you check my Instagram, I'm a big fan of puns. So this is. I would get a normal mug for size, but this is a bit bigger than a normal mug. But this is what it says. I'm not going to say it out loud. Yeah. But you read it. And this is the mug of choice.
I just have this donut one we all don't like, apparently, but I love it.
To be honest, these mugs represent us as people very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Oh,
holes
Yorkshire
in my
tea as well.
mixes. A lot of holes in my mixes. That's probably what this represents.
Oh, and this is what I say pretty much every day,
Yeah. Oh,
especially
all the
when doing
time.
mix downs.
Jeez, that's been my weekend. Finally, like, gotten out of a slump, and I've been able to work on projects and actually finish things finally. Yeah.
I'm in that exact same thing. Like when lockdown started in March in the UK, I was coming off the back of I was creatively, I was in a good place, smashing out the tunes. And then I guess the last month has been difficult because I've been writing loads of ideas. I get loads of ideas
Yeah.
and sketches and I get them down. But then after working on them for 2-3 hours, I think, oh, they sound shit. Or they're good and I'll come back to them, but
You're
then
right.
never come back to them. So I'm in that position where I've probably got about 20 projects. And it's just finding that extra motivation, I guess, to get through it. Half the
Right.
times I'm probably overthinking it, but it's
Yeah.
the track's like it's a sketch. It's not even mixed, but it's just bare bones. But it's just getting it finished. But I'm not worried because music can sometimes tunes write themselves in hours, and other times tunes take literally years to finish. So as long as I'm writing music, and I know that me and James don't live together, but James is doing sketches as well. So when we send a lot of stuff back and forth. So he's working on sketches that he will bring to the table, and then I will work on sketches. And I guess from our releases that we've had,
Yeah.
so we did Paradigm we wrote that originally in 2018. That was written in a day from start to finish. That tune wrote itself. I still don't know how we did it. I open up the project and I don't remember doing it, but we'd just come off. So we'd been to some events as ravers, raving up in North Wales with my mate Geekcroft, a good friend, and he got us up to to experience massive rigs in it was stupid. It was like a tennis club, and they stuck this huge rig. I mean, it was like there was inches off the ceiling. I've never heard something so loud. I thought the place was going to fall apart. Like the poles on the structures of the room were shaking and rattling. And it was an event. And after he played one of our old bootlegs that we did, so we did a bootleg, me and James, as our DJ Ransom and Synth Force alias in 2015. So we did a bootleg of Rip Groove by Double 99. So he played that tune in his set. I've probably still got the video somewhere, but honestly, the bass on it went right through me.
Yeah.
Me nostril hairs were dancing. That's how much. And it was unreal. And it was just a massive rush. And at that point, I was still writing a lot of Liquid. And after that day, I was like, screw writing Liquid. This is what I want to do. So me and James went back and we smashed out Paradigm and we did Big Rig, which then got released. So we did Paradigm first, then we did Big Rig, and literally we wrote 4 tunes in 2 weeks. Big Rig then got released on Program 100 last year. Paradigm was the first one, and then it was a year. So then 2018 to 2019, we were then writing the other tracks, Scene Savage and No Laughter VIP. And at that point, I was just starting to get a few gigs. So I was writing music for gigs. I wasn't writing Liquid because I wasn't playing Liquid that much. So I was wanting to write bangers to test out. And then I guess that's how the Paradigm EP came. I mean, interesting fact about Scene Savage is the version that got released was not the original version. So 2 years before that, we wrote a version which is a lot more techie and rolly, I guess. Rolly, is that even a word? It is so. Now.
Yeah,
rolly.
It's right here.
I'm coining terms. And yeah, so, and it was a good tune. We really liked it, but it just wasn't quite there. So I went back to it and just sort of,
nice.
It was essentially, I went back to it and did a whole new tune based around it. I guess it was more like a VIP, but then it was, in the end, became the original, and that's the version. I may have to dig it out one time. Actually, it's quite interesting. The original, you can still hear bits, but it's a lot more different vibe.
Yeah,
I guess you probably have tunes like that where the final version is not at the released version that people think it is didn't start life out like that.
Oh no, there's a ton of tunes. I mean, like that. I feel like that's just not an obvious thing, but just like a thing that like we all go through. But also, quick stop right here. Your camera has been like frozen for the past 5 minutes.
Oh shit! Really? It's not frozen on my end.
At least
Let's
move
on.
Yeah. Okay.
So your releases. You asked me. That was it. You asked me what have I done? Writing tunes over lockdown. Still writing. Past releases that we've had. So I touched up on the Paradigm EP, Program 100. Then we had Telepathy, For You, and I guess the next thing coming is next month, another single.
Ooh.
Nice. I can't say, but it's
of course.
It's on. Yeah. It's
I think
been released with some other tracks, and then we've got a 4-track EP coming.
Nice. That's awesome.
And just trying to think what else. No, that is right. Yeah, so we've got the single, and then we've got a 4-track EP, which has been finalised, or we're at the final hurdle, I guess. And then, and then there's tracks that we've made that won't be coming out.
Right.
We did the Toronto's Broken, the Always in Motion remix. I really enjoyed working on that one.
It was great. Actually, it's like nice to hear you more like melodic, not liquid, but you call it liquid anyway. That sound.
Yeah,
but with
I
your
guess
touch
our
on
tunes
it.
have that where you have that sort of aggressive bit, but then we always like to roll out with the sort of softer bit, and I guess that's the liquid sound coming through. Because if you listen to our early DJ Ransom and Synthforce stuff, you'll hit. If you go back and listen to it, so we had a release on Celsius and some of the bits, you'll hear signature sounds in there because we've not really changed. We still like to have those little bits in. I like to call it filler.
Yeah. Now we're back, and the whole point of this episode is T-Gate 2020, when someone, being me, made a innocent joke, thought it might get a laugh or an emoji. I angered the entire UK population and everyone else that saw it. So what started as a small Instagram story, 2-3 months later, is it now? That this whole arc of
4, I think.
Yeah, me being trashed every day, tongue in cheek, but also some people are just like, "What the hell is your problem?" To now the track and all this other goofy stuff that's happened. So you know what? I'm just gonna let you take it away because this is all your fault, basically.
It's not my fault. It's your fault. For a start, you should never microwave water.
It was a joke.
I mean, I remember the day so well. Because I woke up in the morning, I checked the Instagram, and there I go. I see it, and I'm just thinking, what the fuck is he doing? That was my literal reaction, is this... I don't know. I felt offended. I felt more than offended. I felt that this was a personal target against me. And to think that he could get away with it for the lols, because he thinks that the UK is asleep...
You are, though, because, time different. Anyway, go ahead.
But you were asleep when we woke up and saw it.
Yeah, that was fun to wake up to.
It was not. And, of course, me being the T representative in your Discord server, I ain't gonna push this to one side. This is a serious problem we have here. I still haven't forgiven you for it. I never will.
I got cancelled almost.
You got more than cancelled. But to be fair...
Came back.
I guilt tripped you. Do you know what? I'm going to explain to you on a scientific level here.
Go for it.
Why you should not microwave water.
You sent me like
a
whole published a scientific article on why you should boil water.
Yeah, it's to do with how water boils. So when you boil water, the atoms spin round and they generate. Whereas with a microwave, it's working from the sides to the middle. How many times have you when you microwave soup, for example, and you don't microwave it properly, it's boiling hot on the edges, but then once you get into the middle, it's cold.
Every day,
and a tea bag needs to brew. And yeah, without going into too much detail, microwaving tea leaves for infusion need to be boiling water.
Yeah, so that like
or just after.
So that morning after my joke, I realized it wasn't a joke. After there are at least 10 messages from every person that I talked to from like your side of the world. It was like you, there was Steven, our integer, there's Perspective. Kino was like, what the hell are you doing? I think Workforce.
I had to rally the troops, mate. I had to rally the troops.
There was Workforce that messaged me. He's like, what are you on about? And I haven't talked to him much at all. But that got him out of it. And then just like everyone came out of it. It's like, wait, I really did something
you did
bad. Yeah. And then it hit Discord when you started. And then that whole
Twitter
string of messages.
And a lot. And it led to you writing well, actually, let's not jump ahead. I then said to you, you need a kettle. And you're like, what is this kettle? Josh, this weird contraption that I don't have.
That's pretty close.
And I sent you links to buying a kettle.
Yep, 3 different
And
ones.
what did you do?
I bought one.
You went and ignored all that advice and bought what can only be described as some weird ultra bullshit kettle. Never seen one in my life. Seriously, never
American.
seen anything like it.
I didn't make
it. lights up.
Yeah, it's beautiful, you know?
I know. I mean, I've got used to it now, to be fair.
Yeah. It's kind of like people who prefer like plain PCs or all the RGB. And I got the blue Razer sponsored kettle.
You like got the best in the business for a fucking kettle. Like, I was expecting you to just get a kettle, standard function.
Yeah.
You could line up 50 different kettles. They're all going to do their job. That's their one purpose in life, right. A kettle, boil water quicker than, But, you've got this kettle thing, and then you bought it. Yeah. And you said to me, I've bought it. I've bought this Ultra Kettle, and the whole Ultra Kettle meme then pretty much kicked off from there.
No, that was definitely when it got back, because I didn't notice if it was even called Ultra Kettle until I like unboxed it for like everyone. And then I think it was either you or Charlie was like, what is this ultra bullshit? I was like, I don't know. It's just American. That's what was in stock and could ship in like the closest amount of time. For $5, by the way. So now I have like
$5. That's not bad. Yeah. You could get plain white ones for that sort of price over here. I mean, it does its job and it lights up, and it's great amusement because I will remember that day very well where you turned it on. The excitement. You were like a kid at Christmas.
Just staring at it.
I'll get to use my new kettle. You turn it on. No, you looked at it first thinking, right, what do I do? You were confused by it.
A little bit, because there's just one switch.
We then had to guide you on how to use a kettle.
Yeah, that was
fun. How to fill it up. And then press a little. So has yours got a little switch on the side that you press?
Just like a switch on the handle, and then it's on.
Yep. And then it's on, and you sit and wait, and it makes it.
Yep.
Is it one of those where you fill it up and you press a button, and it's still silent, and you think, oh, what's going on here? And then you start to hear the heating elements start kick in, and you think, ooh.
It's a beautiful sound. I'm so used to it.
You get used to the sound of a kettle. And to be honest, it is a good sound. I mean, I've sampled a kettle, used it in tunes.
I should have.
Yeah, you will do. You will do. Because I'll tell you what, when it does this feature that all kettles do, which you love so much.
Yeah, I learned
you can
quick.
use that as a transient on a snare.
Yep.
You will be doing that, trust me.
If no one's aware like I was, it has an auto shut-off feature. Apparently, this is hilarious to people who already knew this.
As Charlie Perspective clearly put it, that's the basic function of a kettle, dude.
Because the whole thing is just like, it just gets progressively worse, and I just look, normal at this point.
I've never laughed so much that night. It was nearly tears rolling down my eyes because we were just grilling you, and it was hilarious. So that's the birth of the Ultra Kettle.
And
it's now led to you writing a track. Oh yeah, I then made a video, didn't I, to tell you how to make a cup of tea.
Like all
we
three.
got three people. And my voice, ladies and gentlemen, is if you go to the end of Winslow's A Man in His Kettle, I say the infamous line, and that's how you make a cup of tea. Although he did edit that because there was another word that.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
that is me. That is me. Yeah. But he's pitched me up, so I sound like a chipmunk. But yeah.
Oh no, I didn't do that. That was just your recording.
Really?
Like the delays and stuff pitched up, but like the voice is this straight out of the recording.
Wow.
Yeah, you were
that's
excited.
Enthusiasm for you. That's enthusiasm. I thought I was pitched up on that.
Yeah, I was like, no, because I made it and I got it, obviously, but then part of it was still like messing with you all. And then you were just like...
You sent me the
straight
tune.
Through. You were straight through and just like, nope, I'm going to teach you how to make a tea. And you're like, all right, Winslow, this is how you make a cup of tea. And it's like a 3-episode video, which I might
messing.
I might just stick in here. Yeah.
The squeeze, which is... Yeah. That's how A Man in His Kettle. And you sent me the tune, didn't you? And you was like... And I laughed when I heard my voice at the end. And then you asked me the question, can I keep it? And I was like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, because it didn't even start off as that, but as like, you got to think of a name for a tune. And I was just like, I don't know what to call this. And then I was just like, drinking tea, I think. I was just like staring at it. It's like, oh, I can call it that. And then all the little mouse wheel starts going and all this extra stuff. I'm like, okay, I'll call it that. And that's like the moment like I sent it off to like Pilot. I didn't have a name until like 5 seconds before sending it off. And they're like, yeah, send us the mix down. So I threw, and then that's when I'm like, what if I just throw his voice at the end?
It works. It's a little cameo.
Yeah, exactly.
And the thing is, right, all jokes aside, stuff like that is what drum and bass is about. It's about having fun. We take a joke and we run with it. And if people don't get it, then that's fine because it's right at the end of the tune. So if you're a DJ and you've mixed out by that point. Whereas if it's a little Easter egg, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
It's history.
That's what just like this whole month of this kettle nonsense, this Teagate.
It will never. And the thing is, it will never stop. It's like it's part of you now.
Yeah, that's why I feel like you should explain it for the people who are just like, what's going on? Because I still get these messages like, what is the kettle thing about? It's like, I might as well explain it now.
Oh, the whole Twitter beef as well. So because that's how we are on Twitter, isn't it? We're always out to get each other. It's the little one-ups and the jokes, and that's what drum and bass is about, especially over this year. To segue into relevance.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah,
it is. The internet is now playing the most important part of the drum and bass scene because no one is gigging.
Right.
No one's really playing. We're not out in clubs. So to stay connected with everyone, you need the internet. You need, and also drum and bass and the whole music industry hasn't disappeared. Everything's not stopped. We're still cracking on. You can't stop, really.
There's so much going on still.
There's so much. There's loads. I mean, I've been busier this year than I was last year. And that just puts a little, I guess, if you're not busy, make yourself busy. There's so much to do, and there's so much you can do. So staying connected and being and speaking to people and networking. I know that in one of your videos, which is very good, I must say, and this is not me saying it because I'm on Winslow channel. Some of his videos are great because they feature my face in them. But the ones about the demos, they're bang on because that's exactly what it is. I think you know what they say. It's not what you know, it's who you know, and being yourself is what it's about. There are people that I guess with the whole social media thing. I'm not big on social media. I never really have been. And that probably sounds bad for who I am, but I've always been a person that's liked to be the producer, the guy in the background making being that on the
Exactly,
production. I don't want to be. I'm not the singer.
No.
You look at this face. I ain't singing. I'm the guy behind the front of house making it sound good. So I've lost my train of thought, which is good. But
No,
yeah,
like-
so being in the background. So social media, there are people that have the content that catches you in, and it's all the pictures and the editing and stuff. And then, which is not what I'm about. It's this whole instant gratification that you need to post everything online.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Here's my sandwich that I had for lunch today. Take a picture.
That's the
and it's
worst.
like, I wouldn't go up to some random person in the street and show them a random picture of my food and go, "What do you think?" But social media, there are people who treat social media like that, and it works for them. So I get it. And it does take a while to understand that you may not like social media. There are some great points with it, connectivity and meeting people. I love that. But it's this whole branding thing and the fact that you, at times, and I've felt this, and I know that we've offline, we've had these discussions about how to make yourself feel approachable to in the world of social media and the whole be yourself, which is exactly what I've tried to do, especially on Instagram. I'm always answering people, responding to comments, and just generally chatting to people. If they message me about something, I don't just message back with 2 words. I get a conversation going as though I was meeting them in real life and chatting them over a pint. Because to followers and fans, you become way more accessible, and they think, oh, hang on a minute, these drum and bass artists, they're not like, I thought they're like high
robots,
high flying stars, unique people, but actually we're no different to you. We just write music or we DJ.
Dude,
and I guess, once you break down that barrier, you then, people like you because they think they can relate to you. So that's always what I've done. And I use social media now. It's very easy to be a walking billboard where buy my tune, buy this, buy that. But at the same time, you have periods where if you're an artist or whatever, that you may have periods where you're waiting for releases to happen. So you get quiet periods of content. So you have to think creatively, and even if that's little clips of things that you're working on. I mean, I love to do production clips because to me, I always ask myself, would I enjoy it? Yes. And I love the little clips.
Yeah.
I do the little highlight clips of my radio shows that I do.
I don't want to stop you, but sorry. Yeah. This is so good because it's like I explained all this, like we had like conversations like the beginning of the year, and now you're telling me all of it back, and it's like I've watched.
I listened to you, mate. I came to you, and I said, because I like how you do things with your social media, your photography, and I wanted to tap into that because I was trying to get established. I mean, if you look at the actual numbers of followers and all that, if you want to, the SyRan brand, we're about 950 on Instagram.
Dude, it's
Facebook
just so
or whatever.
hard to like connect.
It's not as much as, for example, you or other people, but
I'm not even.
It's trying. But it's not about that. But it's coming across to get yourself introduced to new people. Yeah. So I came to you and I was like, right, how are you doing things? And you said to me, and I'll always remember this. You said, Josh, just be yourself. That's exactly what I was.
It really is like not necessarily easy, because then there's a step of how do I be myself not necessarily without like being too much, but like finding a way that works with you, because it's still like you're on your phone, you got to make content, but it's kind of like I mentioned, not in the, oh, this is a good segue, a video that's going to be out later this week about just like ways to do things. Like you got to figure out your way to make like social media work for you. And like mine was just jokes or like whatever I'm doing here and there. And then here's a tune. And then people are like paying attention. Or just like conversations like you were talking about. Like that just helps a ton. Not the, should I release a tune? Or like people, on Twitter, which I just saw like SyRan arguing about earlier. Just like, hey guys, what if I released a tune? And it's like you already have it scheduled and coming out on Friday, but now you're acting like, what if I did a thing? But it's already been like a plan for months. Like you don't have to do that, because that's just annoying. And people like see through that. Yeah,
and there's a lot of the way you do the multiple videos and you go, which one do you prefer, 1, 2, 3, or 4? Which I actually like them because people interact through a choice.
Yeah.
And that can, for some people, that may be, it's a way to, I guess, test the waters on things.
For sure.
And then see. But so I guess on the whole social media thing, that's exactly what I do. And I always, though, before I hit upload, the first thing I always think is this right? Would I be happy showing my family these posts?
Exactly. That too.
If I'm not, don't put it up online. It's the whole censorship, I guess.
Yeah, and it's also like what you said earlier, like would I want to watch this or any of that? Like that's what I have to think about. Like that's probably the only reason I do any of like this like video stuff is because first off, it wasn't like something that was there when I was looking for it, that kind of thing, especially within drum and bass. And now it's like if I'm going to do it, I need to be fully into it, not just trying to make content for content's sake or whatever.
Yeah, add into the noise, I guess. And I guess that's similar to like we've started. Well, so for the every 20th day, which is pretty specific of the month, me and James are doing some production. It's called 30 Minutes for SyRan, which we're doing with Ram.
Yeah,
and it's something that I've wanted to do for a really long time.
And I've been trying
but I've just never had the time to do it. And then I was literally bored one night and I thought, I've got some time to kill. So let's hit record and waffle.
That's why
I really love, I'm not a teacher, but I really love explaining myself. And I like showing people and giving them a little insight.
So a teacher.
But I'm not a qualified teacher. I just waffle on past experience or things that I've learned.
That's all it is. But we've had this conversation.
And I've learned a lot. And I've spent years reading magazines, computer music, and trying things out for myself. And it's just, here's a 30-minute video. I'm going to waffle a bit, but hang in there because I when I do the voiceovers for it, you see the screen. Yeah. You see the door, or I'm not trying to show you, okay, so if you want to compress the kick drum, you need to set the attack to this ratio and this X. I'm not there for that. I'm not telling them how to do it. Yeah. I'm planting the seeds for them to think about so that they can then take that technique and then research themselves into a rabbit hole. So then they will find things off that. It's just to give them the idea into their head so that they can then go away and look.
Yeah. Yeah, that is basically teaching. Like once you get past like the basics of like this is how you do this, like it's all like guidance basically. Yeah.
One of the best ever computer music tutorials ever is from DLR. He doesn't at any point show you how to do something. He sits for 45 minutes and explains why. Yeah. And that is probably one of the greatest production masterclasses I've ever seen, because I didn't want to really see what exactly he does. Yeah. He explains why he does it. It may not be right, or someone else may disagree, but it's just to hear from their own experiences. And I think that's the most valuable knowledge, because if you ask 50 drum and bass artists how to do something, you will get 50 different answers. Exactly. Music production, you learn the basic rules, and then once you've got to a point, those rules that you've just learned, put them in the bin and break them all.
Right. You know what? That's actually a perfect segue. We'll just skip one of the things and go to the questions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, perfect segue into that, because we have, let me look at these questions. We have one from Ransom, the other Ransom, that's spelled different. Or maybe he's the only Ransom now, since you're not Ransom anymore. So his question is, how has your approach to production changed over the past few years? Anything you did 3 years ago that you refined or dropped from your current process? I'll let you go first.
Okay, well, yes. It's probably, there is and there isn't. Okay, so when I wrote music, I was limited by the computer. I used to write tunes with 2 gigabytes of RAM.
Oh my God, yeah.
So you had to keep everything in the box. And I guess that way of working still sort of is is at the forefront now, but because I've got the computing power, I can actually go in a bit more detailed. For example, I work a lot with samples.
Yeah.
So in the DAW that I've got, there's a sampler, but inside the sampler has filters and basic EQ and effects. I use all that. I use the onboard effects. I don't do it all on the mixer inserts.
Yeah.
I do it all in the sampler because I've been so used to working that way that it's a habit that I can't drop.
Also,
and it's
that's
the same with grouping things together.
Also, yeah,
So-
this is FL Studio, by the way. 'cause-
Yeah, so I use FL Studio mainly, and so if I've got, for example, if I've got a kick drum layer that's 3 samples, I will load them into 3 samplers. If one kick drum's doing the body and then two are doing the high end,
Yeah.
all I'll do is turn on the high pass filter in the sampler
Exactly. Yeah.
on that, and then all 3 of those kick drums will then get routed to the same mixer track and then process it as one instrument. So I guess in other DAWs that would be bussing or grouping.
Yeah.
But in FL, because of the way that it works, you can do that at the click of a button. For techniques that I've so that's probably still gone. Things that I've dropped, or things that I do
everything.
differently now. I guess now I'm a bit more clinical with processing because I know that my computer's not going to fall over if I put 2 plugins on. I like to chain plugins and layer multiple EQs. So I will actually use Patcher and set up my own patches to then feed out to then do more advanced routing.
Right.
So mid-side processing, that sort of thing. I actually, when I first started, I had no idea about phase in the stereo field. I had no idea about gain staging. I used to, like some of my early work, I used to just put limiters on everything to stop it clipping.
Or the
I
high,
thought, yes, that sounds good, and it didn't.
or there's the high passing everything to like just getting the bass or whatever out, which is dumb. Yeah.
There's so much. I got myself into so many bad habits by watching YouTube tutorials and getting lost by not understanding what was going on and just hitting presets and going, that sounds good. That I've had to spend years unlearning them.
Yeah.
But I think
So many things.
I think it's worked. It's definitely worked. So I'd say the whole. When we write tunes, I think that I'm in the 90s. That I'm actually dealing with samplers, and when I'm chopping up breaks, I don't tend to split them out across different channels and process all the individual hits separately. If I've got an aim and break, I will treat it as one thing.
Yeah.
If I need to split it out, I will do, but I try and not. And I guess our tunes have that sort of rough sound to it. It's not clean and clinical, but it works. So
the vibe is there, and that's a whole different
vibes over technicals any day of the week.
That could definitely be an episode just of that. But not to like cut you off, but let's go to another question that aren't, because there's a lot of dumb ones. Just you know who to expect. Like send just like questions that don't make any sense. Like one from Thomas Finadrift. How do I do the drum and bass? Or one question is like foghorns, and that's
I'll tell you what. Actually, I don't mind talking about foghorns because people ask how we made telepathy, and I can tell you this now, right? That sound started as an electric piano in a sample, and all we did was I cranked the shit out of it, like 30 plus 36 dB gain of reduction. I then put a trim knob, and drove it into the red, going into distortion, and actually try and make the plugin fall over because the signal level is way too loud.
Oh yeah.
And that's what creates, and then you adjust the filters ever so slightly, and that's what creates the movement. So it wasn't done in SyRan or anything. It was literally just a bog standard FL synth or a sampler and a sub underneath.
Right.
And then it was just, I seem to remember it was Camel Fat 3, then Trash 2, then some Sound Toys distortion preamps, and then EQ in between, and some reverb. And I think that was it. It was, I basically made a sound design session and just played with some dials and held down a note.
Now
And that's-
everyone, now
Yeah.
everyone listening, go buy all of SyRan's tunes because that was a big top tip right there. So you have to support him. He's dropping all of it. All right, another question. I'm just going to ask you these questions because
Okay.
I can answer them some other time. I'm not that interesting. But top 2-3 artists you'd like to collaborate with?
Ooh, good question. Subfocus, Camo and Crooked. Oh, that's such a difficult question because there's so many. Yeah, Subfocus, Camo and Crooked. Who else? I can't think off the top of my head, which is probably... There are lots of artists that I would just like to sit as a fly on the wall and see how they work.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to collaborate. I just want to see what they do and see how they try things. Dillinger, he's someone that I would like to just watch.
Dude, that'd be
Yeah.
just nuts
But
to
yeah,
watch people.
Subfocus for his drums. I think he's got some of the best sound design for drums in drum and bass. Camo and Crooked, for their synths, and they're great at giving space and depth
Yeah.
whilst retaining the loudness, and just it's great. And any of the noisier and the sound design is one of my weaker areas.
Me too.
But I really appreciate the people, the Neurofunk guys who are making everything. It's great how they do it. So technical, but that's why I love drum and bass, because there's so many different ways you can do something. And I guess one SyRan top tip number 2.
Here we go.
If you use samples on pre-made loops and you edit them and do what you want with them, that's not cheating. No. If you sit and make kick drums and snare drums in SyRan or whatever, that's also not correct or not wrong. It doesn't matter how you do it. If the music sounds good, that's all that matters. We work with a lot of samples. A lot of the weird and wonderful bits are all probably on sample packs that many people have.
Yeah.
We use a lot of the Loop Masters ones. The ones that get rinsed and repeated, we have them and we still use them, but we process them enough so that you can't pick out the samples. And that's all I'd say. I mean, Caliber makes great tunes. What does he do? He hits 2 chords on a piano and puts a think break and a sub underneath it.
Yeah,
I mean,
but it's how you.
It's amazing. It's great, and that's no disrespect to Caliber. He makes them the greatest drum and bass. So find a pocket, find a way that works for you, but at the same time, ignore what people say. If someone goes, "Oh, you use samples, therefore you're not very good," doesn't matter.
Yeah, no.
But I always think it's worth to learn or try and learn sound design. Because if you can get basic sound design down, then when you get ideas in your head, you can get it down and you understand basic synthesis. FM synthesis, which is what SyRan uses, is the hardest form of synthesis. So it's basic additive, so oscillators and stuff. You can start crafting your own sounds.
Yeah. Now I'm just gonna. I know we don't want to provoke anyone, but I'm just gonna add. This doesn't give all us. I'll be in there too. Splice users. Every now and then, just drop a piano loop that everyone's used because it's at the top of the list, and you put it in there. I like
Splice. I think the idea of Splice is amazing. The idea that you pay so much, because I've all bought sample packs and used 3 loops.
Yeah, the idea for sure.
We don't personally have Splice. We don't use the Splice samples. We get a lot of our stuff comes from computer music and music tech. So we have the magazine subscriptions, and then essentially you get extended demo packs. And we find it and samples on the discs or download. So that's how we do it. Or we save up money and then wait until the sample packs go on sale and then go and have a listen. Yeah. And there's some ones that we've bought that are amazing that we go to all the time. There's ones that I've bought over the years and James has bought that we think we shouldn't, in reality, we didn't really need to buy it.
Yeah.
So Splice is great. It's just that because everyone's got access to it and it's on a search function. If you search vocal, whatever comes up top, everyone's going to see first. So always worth getting creative. And yeah, if you know me, I always call them the Splice splice heads or whatever.
The
And
sample pack liquid. That's what I was going to say without angering anybody, but I've said it. So
I'm not here
yeah.
to anger anyone.
Not this episode.
It's all a running joke. And the thing is as well, producers, we're all critical.
Yeah,
the amount of
course.
times I can go, I've heard a tune and go, oh, I know where that sample's come from, or I know where that sample's come from. It just happens. I mean, there's ones where, so there's no right or wrong way of doing it. If the music sounds good at the end of the day and people like it, doesn't matter. I've seen some people, Skrillex, do you remember he wrote an EP on one busted speaker, or something? Was it the Scary Monsters EP?
Yeah, I think that was just like in his tour bus or something.
Yeah, and it's the same with gear as well. There's loads of gear snobs and, oh, you need this monitors and stuff. Like, you see the monitors that I use, they're like 140 low end. If you learn your gear and know how they sound, then you can compensate when you make mix down adjustments. If you know that your speakers aren't good in this area or whatever, and referencing and referencing and referencing and referencing, and then when you think that you've not got it right, guess what? You reference again.
And I feel like I don't even have to ask anything. I just kind of say a word, and you're just like 20 topics in. So I feel like you covered
really sorry.
everything.
This episode's gonna be like 2 hours long, isn't it?
Oh, it's up there.
But I'll say this now before we crack on, is that
Of course.
I'm pretty active in Discord. I'm more than happy. My inbox is always open. I do help people out with feedback. I like helping people out and offering my 2 words of advice or whatever. So if you're listening and you want to get in touch, hit us up on the socials. I run all the socials normally. James he's the silent guy who comes in and writes the tunes. I do all the social stuff, but that's just because of how we work. And actually, as duos, that's great. He comes in on one angle and I come in on another, and that's how we vibe off each other.
Nice. Yeah. So you know what? I feel like this is your episode now. It started off as your episode, but this is definitely the Josh SyRan episode. So we don't even have to talk about anything else. It's like been an hour, at least recorded.
Really?
So you know what? You got anything coming up? Anything we should be aware of? Where can we follow you?
Yeah, so at /SyRanDMB on all socials. So that's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We're on TikTok, actually.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, we're on TikTok. But
no dancing. Yeah.
No, it's not that. It's back to the whole social.
Of course.
TikTok is one of those, I don't understand it.
Me neither.
But
I'm just not young enough.
It's got a certain generation behind it. And if I can tap into that and get new users in, it's worth it.
Foghorns.
I wouldn't go anymore because, to be fair, I like making things as simple as possible.
Yeah.
So that I press one button and it pushes it out to all. Because I can't be doing with rinse and repeat on the socials posts. If I can't upload content in 10 minutes, then I'm bored by that point. I'm not here to sit and upload content all day. I want to crack on with my life.
Yeah.
But yeah, so at SyRan DMB on all socials. And then if you go on Instagram and Twitter, our bio link, it's got everything in there. So I do a weekly radio show on DMB Radio called In the Mix, which is really, I've been doing that now for 7 years. Crikey.
Jeez. Yeah.
I love it. We're up 287 episodes now. So I love playing all the great music. And as always, big thanks to all the labels and artists.
Right.
You send me promos and tunes, because even though SyRan, we make a style of music, I guess.
Yeah.
The radio shows, we tend to start liquid,
right,
and we roll it up, increase the pace, increase the tempo to the face melters.
There you go.
That's and I was calling them face melters about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So I don't like to say I coined that term, but I think I was starting to say it before it got said a lot. So yeah. Anything coming up? So yeah, new single coming out on RAM. The 4-track EP, and we're just writing new music. The production tutorials will be on the RAM record YouTube, so that'll be a monthly thing. I'm sure that I've missed something, which is probably worrying.
I'm pretty sure you covered it. You
Just
hit
general
everything.
I'm just trying to enjoy what this year is.
Yeah.
All
definitely.
I'd say to people is hang in there. Mental health is tough. I've had a few moments, and just talk to people. Find people to talk to. We talk a lot on Discord, but we don't always talk about music. We just talk about things. There's plenty of things to talk about. Computer games, things going on in the world, and just
F1.
stay connected. Because the friendships that we make, once the light at the end of the tunnel is there and we're out on the other side, we're all still going to be, we're not just all going to disappear.
Right,
if anything,
exactly.
you gain new followers and new supporters. And it's all about supporting each other. And that's what I say to everyone is if you're a follower or you're an artist or a DJ, support everyone. Give a like, share your posts, drop a comment. You could drop a comment that says, it just doesn't have to be an essay, but just help everyone.
Yeah.
And together we all push forward, because you never know that person, that follower that gets in touch with you, or that you help someone out 4 or 5 years down the line, they could be signed to a really big label. And I'm not going to say who, but someone could be signed to a big label that you've helped by doing your...
I pointed to you.
But I'm not here to take the light though, but I've known you, I've known your music now from the beginning, but it's just having everyone's got different experience levels. And once you tap into that and people are happy to talk about it, then I tell you what I've done and what I would do, and you tell me things, and together we learn more. Because with drum and bass, when you start making drum and bass or any music scene, you don't get given 100-page manual that says, this is how you contact labels, this is how you do promo plans, this is how you do release schedules, this is how you network. This is how you look at contracts, you don't get that. You have to learn on the fly.
Yeah,
Or you learn by asking or hitting up other people. I've learned so much from being on RAM and a big established label. I'm so grateful for that. There's so much. And even then, it's having the people, the RAM team. If I have a stupid question, I can ask it.
Yeah.
And not be worried there's a stupid question. And then that can lead on to, and you just learn, and all the knowledge that you pick up, you remember. So when you have when everyone has their first release, they have no idea how it's going to go. But then once you've done that, you remember how it goes. 9 times out of 10, the next release will be similar. And as you have more and more releases, you get used to it. Yeah. And that sounds quite weird to say, oh, we get used to releasing on RAM or whatever, or you get used to a promo plan or whatever. But it's all part of the process of putting a track out. What people see is a new tune, but they don't see what goes on behind the scenes. And I can tell you now, I'm sure that all drum and bass in a time like this, there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes.
So much. Just even like,
and it's exciting. It's great. It's like 2020 may be a pretty crap year considering what's going on with the whole pandemic, but the music is still there.
Right.
In times like this, we all need music, and that's what drum and bass is not stopping. I think some of the best music ever has been released this year that hasn't been played out in clubs.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Yeah.
It really is. I'm love it. I'm like,
I could
probably waffling, and it's great to see people succeed in whatever level. Set yourself realistic goals and aspirations and plug away. And don't worry if it takes you 10 years.
Exactly.
I've been writing music for a long time, and it takes a while. And if your big break or whatever happens, that's just a start. I remember, so every year there's a festival at an event at a label market in London called Clashmouth. And they they have a masterclass from the education and bass people, which I urge you all to check out if you're aspiring producers. It's
Yeah,
run
definitely.
by Nominee and Nerve. And Nominee is big in the scene. He's done a lot of teaching, and he's got some stuff coming on Metalheads. But I remember him. We went to there and we used to submit tunes, and it was like a feedback session. It was
Yeah,
great.
of course, yeah.
And we submitted tunes before SyRan, and then a year later, things moved on, and we found out, and then we went back and told them. And I remember Nominee giving me some great advice. He said, "I'm really happy for you guys that you've been picked up by Ram, but don't ever take a step back. Don't enjoy your moment, but don't sit back. This is now where you've really got to put in the work.
Yeah.
You've got to push yourself." And I think you never make it, in my opinion. You hit a point and it's great. I don't feel like I've made it. I'm always pushing myself, and that's probably me being quite self-critical, but
Yeah.
you need to keep the drive, because when you're when a big label or the label that you've aimed for you've hit, you then need to maintain that and always beat what you've previously done. So yeah, I think that's probably a top tip number 56. So I've lost count, but
there's so many.
push yourself, and we're all human beings at the end of the day. We just write tunes or DJ, and I think once you realise that, the drum and bass scene as a whole becomes one big tight community. We're all helping each other, and together there's just going to be good news stories. There's people I know who've got onto big labels that they want. People I know who have got onto the artist Athena. She got onto the EQ50 program, and all because I saw it come through, because Ram a part of that. And I tagged her in Discord and said, "You should apply yourself to this because I think your tunes are great." She said, "Nah, I don't think I'm going to get on." And then sure enough,
Right, exactly.
she got it. Sometimes I got a push from friend Geekcroft. He pushed me to submit tunes to Ram. So it's always, sometimes you need a prod by someone just to give you the motivation to do it. And then you never know with these things.
Yeah.
And I think you're probably the best person to say as well. You don't know what's going to happen.
No,
you really don't.
Not at all. It's just like on that same topic, and I know we tried wrapping up, but we just got going. So just like a few more things, like like the pushing. Like I don't know, like this whole year has kind of, at least for me, has been like you pushing me, and we know how that has been going, and we'll get to talk about that soon enough. But the biggest top tip, I guess we can wrap all of that up into one, is just like make a friend, reach out, things like that. Like we're all basically going through the same thing, so you just kind of got to get through that initial anxiety, because like we had like probably just a little like shock before we even started talking, after like knowing each other what 3 years, as the first time like talk like words, like not typing, and it's just like
this is the first time we've actually spoken to each other after years of of taking the mickey out of each other online.
See, and that's all it takes, is just a comment, a chat, joining a Discord, something like that. I know like mine, might as well say it, like ours basically isn't public anymore, but it's like if you message either one of us, we can like give invites, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that's just like, it's made a huge difference, and I feel like it's affected everyone that's joined, at least Discord, like some Discord
this year, because
yeah.
to not go deep for a moment, but
yeah,
right now we're not socializing. We're sat at home, so Discord is our way of socializing. It's like-minded people who are there to just chat crap.
Yeah,
and in times like this, it's really been a lifesaver. And that's the same with any social media. Find a group, find friends, find people for a common interest, and just get chatting. You don't need to chat about music all day, every day. You can you find other things, or just general, like imagine that you're at a pub having a pint.
Right. That's exactly how Discord is.
A pint of tea.
Yes. And you know what? Right there, that's the biggest top tip, and we're going to wrap up. get some tea, make a friend. Anything else you got from this episode? We waffled on quite a bit, but that's what it's about. And let's actually sign it. We'll see you next time. I don't know.
Yes, for episode 3 of Swing and and a Miss podcast.
The Swing and Miss
with
cast.
with Winslow.
Yep. Right.
Now here's a top tip: don't let your tea go cold because it don't taste very nice.
You know what? I haven't.
Right.
I'm gonna save
cue
it
the
for
credits
the next
on that
episode.
one, mate. Cue the credits.
Yeah.
Cue the credits.
That's it. I have tea.